All right. Hello, Mike Kako. Welcome to episode 69. I've been waiting for this
Oh,
number.
my
First off, before we get started, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Also, share this with your Ohana friends, family, and you know what? The more you grow, we grow together. Thank you so much for helping us get to where we're at today. To be able to bring on some amazing guests, we want to mahalo some special people. First off, our friends from Waiakea, Waiakea Water, Super Ono Water. Also, our friends from the Secret Spot, Waikiki, and of course, the best coffee hands down in Hawaii, Hawaii Aroma Cafe. Hawaiian Aroma Cafe, bro. I've been there like 3 times already this week alone, and it's out of my way.
Yeah, you.
Shout out to those brothers and sisters over there. And off to you, Johnny.
All right, let me introduce our guest for today. He is a true Hawaiian waterman with over 40 years of experience, roughly 15 years as a surf coach, and over 12 years as a lifeguard on the North Shore, specializing in teaching and coaching all abilities on all boards, from beginners to professionals, proficient in riding all types and sizes of waves and wave riding boards, bodyboards, shortboards, longboards, stand-up paddle boards, hydrofoils, and more. He even received the People's Choice Startup of the Year award at the Hawaii Venture Capital Association 17th Annual Awards Gala for his innovative board, giving disabled people a chance to enjoy the ocean thrills. He is Kainoa McGee.
Yes.
Yeah, you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you
Mahalo
for coming.
joining us, and mahalo for the ika.
Yeah, no, that's from
That's from us now, bro.
That's from you.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was from you.
Oh, wouldn't have made it that far.
Oh,
That's from the car, bro. Yeah,
Let's
it's going
go.
in the car, everything. No way that would have been gone. Would have been gone.
Bro, I just smell them right now, and my
Yeah.
mouth is watering.
Oh, no. Mine too. I only had one bite. I'm like, sorry, honey, I might not make it home. You know?
Yeah.
What a crazy story. Reading about you and your whole story is it's crazy. You did so many things related to the ocean in Hawaii that it's like I probably missed out of a few things over here. So tell us a little bit about how everything started for you and the love of the ocean.
Well, back when I started, we get pictures, naked running around at the beach when we was a small kid, right? Like literally, like should still be in diapers, but no need. We at the beach, right? Yeah, back then you didn't get sunburned apparently. Running
For
free
real.
relay, all right. And so I started actually. My stepdad had one of those kit boards. So back in the day when the bodyboards, the boogie boards made by Tom Mori first came out, what it was literally a kit. And so they would send out the board, and they would send out the deck and the bottom in glue, and you have to put it all together.
Oh.
And so that was the first board I started on. And then as time progressed, the bodyboard became better. Or back then it was the boogie board or a belly board, right? And then as it became more corporate, Boogie became a trademark at that time of Kransco. And so it changed from growing up calling it a boogie board, which fortunately, like most wave riding boards or sports, started here in Hawaii, right? Stand up paddle with Ricky Achoy and the Beach Boys here at Waikiki. The boogie board was invented on the Big Island by Tom Mori. First place it was ever surfed was Hano's.
Wow.
And so they do an annual event there for bodyboarding every summer on that day. And so I've been blessed enough the past few years to go up and MC that event. So, it's always a good time. I spent a lot of time there in my intermediate in school, during the summers with my auntie Brooksy and Uncle Billy up there. He was he used to handline ahi and stuff like that. And so yeah, it was pretty nuts. And he's a little howly guy, my little Uncle Billy. Right, he would be pulling him up, and his arms just like, "Wah!" I was like, "Oh, I'm talking 100+ pounds."
What? Just straight from the shore?
Hand line off the boat.
And
So you make the palu bag, right?
what?
Then you drop them down with a slip knot, and you pull them, and then you literally just wait for it to bite, and then you pull them up by hand, and then glove.
Oh.
Wow,
That's
it was-
gangster.
yeah, super gangster. Like, and I'm talking like 100+, 150-pound ahis.
Wow.
And I don't know if you ever fought an ahi before, but you know, even a 50-pounder is a
Yeah.
hard fight. So imagine 3 times that. He was like, I don't know, he's not very tall, but he's tough. He's an old school. He's OG. Uncle Billy is OG.
Did you try?
Yeah, like the 50-pounder.
What?
And I was struggling. I was like, what the heck? He's like, give me that. For him, the 50-pounder was like nothing. Like
Easy.
nothing on the end of the line, you know? And
Oh.
so, you know, so way off track, of course. Then so back to the story. I started doing that, was at the Waikiki Wall, born and raised at the Waikiki Wall, you know, going to Queens, going to Publix. Then, you know, started catching waves myself. And then, you know, they came out with the red edge. So I don't know, the red line, it was called. And it was the moray, and it was the blue rails, the blue bottom, all one skin. And then the top had like a rainbow color. You know, this is back in the 70s, early 70s to early 80s. And so rainbow was in, and that was the color that sold, and everybody, oh yeah, the red line. And then they came out with the slick bottoms, and when it first came out was the black bottom. And then by this point, at about 10 years old, I entered my first competition at Point Panic, and it was just there because my mom and my dad were avid body surfers, so they were there just to enter the body surfing. And the person running the event was Bob Thomas, so he was a big part of bodyboarding when we were coming up, when we were younger, where you had a Honolulu Body Surfing Club. You also had Halona Point Body Surfing Club, which they would do most of the events at Sandy's and stuff like that. And then HBC, Honolulu Body Surfing Club, would do pretty much everywhere else, and actually ran the pipe contest for bodyboarding, the bodyboarding championships at Pipeline every year. And they're like, you might as well enter. You know, it was only like $10 or something like that. And, hey, if you win, you get first place, you get a free board. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
And fortunately enough, first event, I won it. Got a brand new board.
Yeah.
10 years old.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
12 and under division. And the thing was, back then, we never had plenty of money, right? So, you know, nowadays, these kids, they get brand new surfboard, brand new set of fins, brand new leash,
Yeah,
board bag.
yeah.
And now it's like that $1,000, $1,200 all in, if not more, right? Back then, we would get the board for Christmas, and then if you're lucky on your birthday, you get the fins, and then, you know, and then just rinse and repeat, or, you know, new shoes or something. Like, you never got the whole quiver, all that. Well, not just the quiver, where the equipment, right? And there are times where, you know, growing up at the wall, everybody, you know, we never have money. We were poor growing up on welfare and all that kind of stuff, and so are most of our friends. So sometimes we'd have to share. You get one board, one pair of fins, so 2 fins. So one person would use one side of the fin, one would use the other, and
Yeah.
then we would take turns. But never did you get to use 2 fins and the board. You get one fin, and or you get the board, right? And so we take turns, get 3 waves, okay, my turn, and we switch. It was so crazy. Even roller skates. We only had one pair of roller skates, and it had me and my brother and my sister. So we over there with the roller skate like this.
Oh, wow.
Shit. Went to Waikiki. Hey, crazy shit, bro. We used to ride skateboard or bike down St. Louis Heights. And I don't know if you've ever been up there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we used to ride skateboard sitting down the whole way down, all the way, or sometimes desperate, just walk 3.5 miles one way, 3.5 miles uphill the other way. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But this is the kind of stuff, like, I see all this posts right now. They talk about like kids from the 70s and 80s and showing, you know, making jump ramps and shit like that. That was us. That's what we did.
Yeah.
That's how I broke my arm. I broke my arm in high school. We had a mobile skate ramp that you would launch off of, and we were at Stadium Park. We took it over there, and I literally went to grab too late, and the board shot up, and I flew sideways and then landed and broke my wrist over here. And then when I came up, the thing, you can see a little bit over here.
Oh, yeah.
But when it happened, it was like, you know, in Fred Flintstone, they flex the muscle and the thing drop out. That's what it looked like. I don't dip. And I never had a broken bone before. So I look at my friends and go, do you think it's broken? And they're like, oh, you better go put some ice on that. And sure enough, it was broken. I went into emergency. And then they didn't have the bone specialist in, so I had to sleep like this overnight.
Oh, my
and if you know me, I tossed and turned the whole night. Now, I don't know how the hell I stayed like that all night. And then next day we went in, and then he reset it, and that was one of the most painful things. There you go. Okay, on 3, 1, crack. They're like, ah! The thing is on fire, burning. And Yeah, so like all this craziness kind of compiled into what I became and what I did. You know, my whole family, my brother Khalil under me played at UH. He was the first starting freshman that Riley Wallace ever had at UH as a point guard. My sister Tita, she also, we all bodyboard, so everybody was in different divisions, and you know we all into it. But I'm the only one that actually stayed with it. Khalil went to play basketball. My sister Tita played volleyball. She's actually really good friends with Robin Amo, so she went to high school and played volleyball with Robin Amo back in high school. And so we're a water family. And even as we raised our kids, we'd spend a lot of time at the wall because it's our kuleana.
Yeah.
It's what we want them to know, right? Jumping off the wall and getting to the point where they're big enough they could jump off the front of the wall by themselves and stuff like that. And so it's cool that
Are you still
our
going
kids
to the
got
wall?
yeah, well, now I work at Ohana Surf Project, which is a surf school right down the way at Publix. And
Okay,
so
okay.
I'm there. I do surf lessons there a couple times a week, basically on my days off from ocean safety.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I get to be back there a lot, and we go once in a while. All the kids are grown up; they're all like adults in their 20s and older. You know,
I
my
feel like
girls.
whoever doesn't live in Waikiki doesn't understand the power of the wall.
No,
They don't understand.
You gotta be born and raised, or you know, have parents who are born and raised. And like I said, when we grew up, we had the older generation. And I'm talking like auntie and uncle ages.
Yeah.
They would regulate everything, so you know things were a lot better, not as like out of hand as they are
Yeah.
now, kind of crazy, right? And even the homeless people like weren't like they weren't aggressive
Yeah.
or like crazy. Like they everybody kind of knew
Yeah,
where their
yeah.
place was, right? And in a good way, you know. And then
Yeah.
if not, you got regulated, and they're like, "Oh, bring your ass back down to earth."
Yeah.
Kind of. So it was good. And that was a good thing about the olden days is that's why things are so crazy now, because everybody wants everything to be so PC and peace, love, and that's all bullshit. That's not life, right? Like if when we were growing up, my kids had to play in any of the leagues that didn't keep score and were participation awards. Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Yeah.
That's unrealistic. Just like in sports, in life, there's winners and losers. You got to choose what you want to be and what you're willing to put the work into to make that happen. But if you teach them, you can't just show up and everybody plays and nobody wins but nobody loses. In real life, people lose.
Yeah.
If you're up for a promotion and somebody else is up for a promotion, I can tell you one thing for damn sure. They're not just showing up to participate. They want the promotion.
Mm-hmm.
They
Fuck
want
yeah.
the prestige with the title. They want the money and all of that. And the same with sports, right? So you cannot raise kids in this kind of environment and then expect them not to be a bunch of pussies.
100%.
Because there's no accountability
Mm-hmm.
for not listening, for being disrespectful. Back then, when a stranger, this one uncle you didn't even know, and auntie, you say something stupid and they slap you, and then you go back and cry to your parent. They go, "Why? What you said or what you did?" And you tell them, they would slap you too.
Yeah.
And you go, "You're lucky I wasn't over there. Would have been worse, right?" And
100%.
now you can't even do that.
Cannot.
You know, it's like everybody's got cameras and everybody's so perfect, but that's unrealistic.
I feel like, especially now when the generation becomes soft because the parents trying to keep them safe and nurture them, but they do the exact opposite. They make them soft because they don't let them compete. They don't let them work hard to be the winner. You won. You didn't win. That's fine too. All good. Let's go home. Let's have a meal. No, you didn't win. That's okay. You lost. What can you do better next time?
Exactly.
What do you need to work on? And that does not exist. Like you said, the accountability, no more.
Yeah, so that's what I was telling my friends. I was having this one conversation. I said, you know what? We did our kids a disservice. I go, what do you mean? Because we gave them everything.
Yeah.
We thought because we didn't have anything, that if we would give them everything, that would make them better, make them stronger. But basically what it does is, first, there's no accountability, there's no responsibility, and the worst of those three things is there's no respect.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's so easy. Like growing up with my kids, I had a room full of boards, right? Whatever they could ever want. Never wanted to do it. They got into high school and their friends got into it, so they got into it. And they're all, Daddy, can I? Yeah, nope. Those days are done. I don't get shit for free anymore like I used to. See all of this? Yeah, that's some that was free, and they were just as much as me as the ones I gotta pay for. And that was always my thing too. Even when I was sponsored and I got boards and whatever sponsor was giving us, I always treated it with respect, and I always treated it like the boards. I get people, they leave their bodyboards in their trunk and in their cars and stuff like that. Mine is always in the shade. If I gotta go somewhere and if I have my bodyboard in the car and I'm gonna go somewhere where I can't take it out of the car, then I leave it home. Surfboards and stuff not too bad, but even then I like not to. But whether the board is free or I paid for it, I still treat it and respect it the same way. Out of the water, I take care of it, make sure it's all G. But in the water, it's made to get beaten up. Yeah. That's why I always say I'm a research and development wizard, because it's not supposed to break, I'll break it. You know what I mean? So I'm, I pride myself on being able to feel out whatever it is that I'm using, whether it's fins, whether it's boards, whether it's swim fins on my feet, fins on the board, all this kind of stuff. Pride myself on being able to feel the little differences and know, because, that movie Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise, I always look back at when he first started racing, he couldn't explain why it was good or why it was bad. He's just knowing I'm going slower or I'm going faster, and being able to communicate that to my shaper, right, or whoever I'm working with, to make fins, swim fins, surfboard fins, bodyboard, surfboard, sup, all of that stuff. So I actually got into shaping myself when I was like in intermediate school as well. I had guys like Kevin Okamura, Dean Marzal, my roommate at one time, Sean Polson. They all started working for Turbo here. Even before they started over there, we just started cutting our boards up, change the angles of the rails on the bodyboards. And the problem with that is it exposed the core. And back then, the cores were really porous. And so we would use wax paper and then iron the rail to kind of seal it. But it wouldn't fully seal. It would seal it more. But at that time, I was maybe, 120 pounds dripping wet, right? I was nowhere near the size I am now. And got to the point where we were like, oh, this is getting boring. We got to do something different. So I started putting like the Sunday comics on top. Then putting the wax paper and then peeling them off, and you get the rail with the Sunday comics and stuff like that on top.
That's sick.
Yeah, and then we started, messing around with the bottoms, started cutting out channels and cutting out like, V bottoms and all kinds of stuff back then. Before we even had the means, it was just like, okay, let's try something different, see what works. And then, so Dean, I think it was Dean Marzal and Sean Polson worked at Turbo when they had the manufacturing over here. And then they had like all this extra material, and we could buy material, and they had the glue. And so we started making, like, the boards started looking prettier and looking like stock boards and stuff like that. And so even when I went into surfing, I would, started surfing in year 2000, and I would talk to my surfer friends like, oh, so what kind of bottom you use and this, that, and, I don't know, ask my shaper. And I always thought like, wow, I don't want to be like, I'd like to know why my board is better.
Yeah.
Worse, right? And so I started surfing surfboards and stuff too. Hand shaped the surfboards. Got to the point where I actually glassed and sanded them all myself. And then I was like, yeah, fuck that. I want to leave this to the professionals. This is too much work. Because in bodyboarding, I was used to using like just hand planers, like Sureforms and stuff like that. So when I did the surfboards, I never really used the planer like they used it and stuff like that. I kind of just did it my way, take my time. And then I was like, okay, now I know how the foam works. What's the differences with bodyboards compared to surfboards and all that stuff. And then, I just started working with a bunch of shapers. And fortunately, when I started surfing, I was riding for Turbo at that time, and also working at the store when they had it in Kapahulu. And they had Kylie was a shaper over there, so he made me a few boards. Then I hooked up with Kyoki Ching, and he's sponsored my boards for a few years there. So I had a lot of time. I worked with Vercelli, and these guys all took great care of me, and it was easy. We had a good symbiotic relationship because I could actually explain what I was looking for, what the board was doing, and why. Where's this rocker starting, and where's it coming out, and is it much rocker, this, that, whatnot. And, with that back and forth communication, I could figure out what the issue with the board was.
Yeah.
Rocker, too flat, too much V in the bottom, not enough V, whatever it was.
I think people don't even understand the evolution of the boards that happen. If you look, Alaya boards back in fucking, I don't know, 7 years ago.
Yeah. Compared to what they look like now,
Dude, it's not. It's science. From the fins, the shapes, the angle, it's all like became science. And people don't realize the evolution of surfboards. They don't know.
Like with everything, technology made stuff better and easier.
Yeah.
And Clark Foam literally just deucing out at everybody, say, "We out, bitches," and just like left the industry in shambles, and people are scrambling, not knowing what to do. It's probably the best thing that ever happened to surfing as far as progression, the introduction and invention, creation, and engineering of new, not just the materials, but technologies to enhance the already better materials. Like for me, right now I'm 6'2", 250, and I'm still competing against guys who are 5'6" to 5'9", 150, right? And say we're surfing in shitty little waves, while having EPS boards, right? Using carbon fiber and all this stuff helps to level out the playing field.
Yes.
Even though carbon's been around since man was created, right? Carbon's been around forever. There's better carbon and better lamination process, better technology that make the board super light, yet they have the twang and the twist that you still need. Most surfers who grew up using poly, they stick with the poly, but I'm a bodyboarder, so everything that I do is more out of the box than not, and I'm usually more open to other things. And plus, being my size, I need to find every little advantage, right? That 0.5% or that 0.5 on the score, 0.01 for that matter, right? I've lost and won at 0.01, right? And having equipment that makes that little of a difference is, in the long run, a big thing.
Yeah,
it's massive.
It's crazy how I never understood how people choose between bodyboarding and boogie boarding, and like.
Wait. What is the difference? I thought it was the brand was the only difference.
Well, bodyboard is when you don't have nothing.
Bodyboarding. Yeah,
you're just bodyboard, and then boogie.
No, it's body surfing.
It's body surfing. But bodyboarding is like a boogie, right? You have a boogie.
But different brand?
You didn't learn nothing from the podcast we had with Mark Cunningham?
I did. Well, bodyboarding, yeah, that part. But the boogie board and a bodyboard
is
where I get confused.
But Boogie is a trademark, is a brand name.
Yeah.
Maury Boogie, right?
Yeah.
Created
and
Maury
was the big brand growing up in my ear.
Well, he was the inventor too, right? So he invented all of that. So like I said, when we were younger, we called it a boogie board, or like my neighbors didn't know that it was a boogie board. They called it a belly board because you're lying on your belly just on the board, And
have you ever seen the bully boards?
Yep.
What? So
we gotta watch those guys out at Makaha.
I've been looking at them like on my Instagram. I follow them because I thought that was interesting because I'm a big ass dude.
Yeah, you would love it. You would love it. It's life changing for big guys, but I never knew how good somebody could be on that board because I suck on those things because I have especially when it comes to boogie boards, bodyboards, I have a specific shape and stuff that I ride for myself. Like standard boards sizes go from like say 38 inches up to like 42. Long is like 44 inches. My boards I'm riding now are 48 and 50.
Ooh.
And then I'm gonna be working with my boy PMA Anaya, and if we can get the materials long enough, I'll be doing 52, 54.
Oh.
And just so what happens was when I jumped onto a surfboard, all of a sudden my big bodyboards felt small.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm on surfboard, right? Like my shortest board is a 5'3", but still, that's what, foot and 3 inches bigger than what I'm riding now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the body, when I jumped out, the jack stance dropped me on it. I was like, felt like I was like this. So I told my shaper, and I was working with X-Men and PMA at that time. We had industry B-boards. I said, I need longer. Like, what do you mean? You're riding 46. Like, well, okay, let's go 48 and 50. Like, what? No way. I'm like, yep. whatever you got. Let's just keep going. I said, since I've been riding for surfboards, these bodyboards feel super short. And I noticed for myself as they got bigger, it got better, more comfortable, more planing surface. And, you know, if we adjust the angle on the rails, it adjusts the volume and the surface volume as well, right? So difference between volume and surface volume. Volume is the overall volume of the board. So say like with surfboards, shortboards go anywhere from 25 to 40 for bigger guys as far as overall liters as volume. Surface volume is the part of the board that just touches the water. So say if I have a bodyboard like this and the rail is like this, now I have more surface volume. But if I cut into it and I go to a more extreme angle and I take out more from the deck, the surface volume is lessened, but it's still just as wide. So now I have the width for when the board sinks, when I want it to plane, I still have the surface volume. I still have the overall width. Which creates the false surface volume. And then when I want to turn and I turn it, now my rail is not like this. As you can see, this is really fat, right? If I put more angle in it, now I only have this much in the water compared to this much. But the tip, from tip to tip on the rail, is still the same width. So when I need it to plane, I have that width because the board sinks a little. Then when I want to turn, I take away all the bulk in the rail by putting more angle, and then I can get the turn out of it as well without having more overall volume or more surface volume, which, like a good example is from a shortboard to a longboard, right? It's huge difference in volume and overall volume. But in order to get a longboard to surf like a shortboard, you have to take that volume out somewhere, and usually you take it out in the rail tail and nose. You make it thinner and stuff like that. And so with bodyboards, it's a little harder because we have less to work with. Right. And so, like, doing surfboards and stuff was way easier than it was designing bodyboards.
But you fell in love with bodyboards, huh?
When growing up, yeah. And I never thought I would actually surf. I always say that, fuck that, I'm a bodyboarder. I'm never gonna surf. And then back in 2000, I actually got sick and I was in the hospital. I had contracted a viral encephalitis, and I was in a coma for 5 days.
Not.
Yeah, I was in a coma for 5
Bro,
days.
it doesn't say on your fucking LinkedIn, bro.
Yeah, it's out there. You can find it. It's out there. And and so for the 5 days I was in a coma, they gave me a 5% chance of living. And then when I finally came out, it was weird because in that kind of stuff, you're all drugged up. And I opened my eyes and I had all these people standing around my bed, the doctor, my wife, and all of these people. And they looked like the mission to Mars. You know, the aliens, the purple aliens with the pointy ears and the pointy. That's what everybody looked like. So my wife said, when I opened my eyes, I sank back into my bed. And like I looked scared. I said, "Yeah, everybody's fucking aliens." I was flying, bro. I was way out there, and super hard hit. It was good for recovery, but terrible for the nurses and stuff. And I never wanted them to do anything. Like, no, I'm good. People would be calling, going home. I'm going home tomorrow. I'm going home tomorrow. I was in there for like a month or whatever it was. And but yeah, and so that year, I didn't enter the pipe boogie contest because that happened and I wasn't in shape yet. But then I went to go watch Sunny them at the Pipe Masters that year, the surfing event. And I was watching, I was like, well, I already almost died and I only did this one thing, like boogie boarding my whole life. Fuck, maybe I should try something different. Like a week or so goes by, start feeling better, I start surfing, start bodyboarding. And what happened is when they found me, I was in about a space this big in between the dresser, between the bed, and I had they found me lying sideways on my left shoulder, and like going into a grand mal seizure, like full convulsing, super high fever, and so when I came out, this arm had atrophied, so it's like this size all the way up, like never have any of this, no shape, no nothing, all the way up. So when I was standing just standing still. Looked like I was standing like this because this whole side never had muscle and it was just hanging. And back then was around the time my brother was playing at UH prior to that, but when he started working out there or playing for UH and started bringing me in to go work out with him, lift weights, stuff like that. So I started doing cross training back in like my 20s. Like I had my first daughter, Kairi Pony, when I was 20. Then got the full dad bod. It's a real thing. People out there, it's a real fucking thing. A dad bod is a real thing.
Yes.
And then I was like, wow, I gotta fucking lose weight. I got a pipe contest coming up, right? So, come work out with me, blah, blah, blah. So I met all the trainers and stuff like that. And, so all this happened for a few years. Then when I went into the coma, he's like, hey, Jay, Jay Goo was one of the trainers there. He said, Jay and Eric, they come down, they help you out and stuff like that. And so everything I did, all the PT and stuff, never do nothing. And so we went over there to UH and they put the E-stim machine on me back then. Back then the machines are huge like this. The TENS machine.
Oh,
like
okay, yeah.
The electric, right?
Yeah.
And so they put that on top. They put them, wherever they put it. And not doing nothing. Turn them up, not doing nothing. They turn them a little bit more. Oh, get a little twitch. Then I'm like, brah, I can't feel nothing. Just turn them all the way up. I don't know if you ever turn that thing all the way up, but it's heavy. It's gnarly. So I turn it all the way up, and all of a sudden my arm just goes like this, and it starts lifting. They let it go. Thing pulse again. It lets go. And I was like, holy shit, that's working. So after that, I had to mark it where they put the pads, and then I would go back to that, and then I would get PT do that. And then eventually it started coming back. It was getting better. I was getting itchier to jump in the water, so okay, we're not going to jump in at pipe. So let's go sandy. So I go to half point. I'm paddling. But this arm's like, I'm just flailing this arm. Paddling this arm. This arm's just failing.
Circle.
And at that time, we were shooting for one of our Boogie videos. At that time, it was the only all drop knee, jack stance, and stand-up Boogie video with all hip-hop tracks. Hip-hop. Only hip-hop songs. And that's back when, like, No Effects, Pennywise, and all that stuff were big in surfing. But we rocked all. We had all the old school, Public Enemy, Tribe Called Quest, Ice Cube, DMX, Snoop Dogg. Like, we had the tracks we had was sick. And but yeah, and so I'm out there, and my partner at the time was Joey Libby with Dragon Pictures, and he's watching me, and he didn't say anything. I couldn't tell when I was looking at him on the beach, but when he came, he's like, bro, what the fuck? I'm like, hey, it is what it is. Fuck it. Let's try, see what happens, right? And so I'm doing it, and then eventually it starts getting better. Then I'm like, okay, we're going North Shore. Okay, but still not going to pipe yet, right? Pipe is always the goal. Pipe is my favorite spot, no matter what. Like, until whatever board, the new thing I'm doing, right? When I went from Boogie to riding shortboards, wasn't legit until I started surfing pipe on it. Then when I started doing longboards, wasn't legit until I went out to pipe on it. Then sup, same thing, not legit until I'm doing it at pipe, because that's, one of the things I'm known for most is being a pipe guy. So if I'm not doing it out there, then it doesn't count, right? And so I'm like, okay, I'm not going to pipe yet, but let's go to VLAN. Went to VLAN. Oh, wait, waves are firing, going good. So next day, like, okay, fuck it, let's go to pipe. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, fuck it, we're going. It doesn't matter whether I'm sure or not. It doesn't matter. We're fucking going. He's like, don't fucking die. I'm like, well, fucking way to jinx it. Thanks for nothing, right? So we're laughing or whatever. So I go out. The paddling's good. I'm still not to full strength. So I take off on one prone, get spit out, works out good. Like, oh yeah, okay, this is fucking sick. So next time I get up to go jack stance, I get up, take off, I bottom turn, everything's all good. Then I put my arm in the wall to stall with no strength, and I literally just fall into the wave like this. Over the falls. I came up fucking rolling and just laughing. And Joey's on the beach like, what the fuck? Like, freaking out. Like, holy shit, I thought you were going to die. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. That's what we got to go through to make this happen. We're gonna learn real quick. And yeah, so it just started adjusting from there. And then thankfully, with God willing, I got back to full strength. But, the numbers is 50% of the people who go into a coma from viral encephalitis die. And what was the other? 50% die, like 20 or 30% are paraplegic, and I think it was 5 or 10% make a full recovery. It's been so long since I talked about this. Got the numbers. Yeah. So it was a pretty heavy thing, and it was literally life changing. And then since then, I'm never gonna be a surfer. I'm never gonna be a surfer, right? I find myself competing in the Triple Crown all of a sudden, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty fucking cool. Because as a wave rider, even back then when I was just boogie boarding, bodyboarding, I always thought how cool it would be to compete in the Triple Crown and stuff, right? But never in my mind thinking I'd be doing it on a surfboard. How can I get in on a fucking boogie? How can I figure this out? Next thing I know, I'm surfing, and I'm in the competition, and travel to Tahiti, surfed at Tahiti, and U.S. Open, all these different places, and qualified.
So you end up being a pro in surfing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So actually, pro as a boogie boarder, as a shortboarder, as a stand-up paddler, and as a longboarder as well. And so, fortunately, like I said, the good thing about everything I went through when I was in a coma is I'm like, fuck it, let's do everything now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And jumping on a surfboard, I think I was surfing for like a month, and because I never competed as a professional on a surfboard, I could enter an amateur contest. So I entered Surf It this summer and ended up getting 5th in my first surfing event ever. And then a year later, I was actually at Pipe surfing in at that time, the Volcom now, Volcom Pipe Pro, but back then it was the Hanson's Monster Energy Pipe Pro. And that was my first event entering as a professional, and I made it to the semifinals there. So, I was like, yeah, bro, whatever happens. And then stand-up paddling came out. My cousin Ikaika Kalama was all into it, doing it on Pipe, doing it out at Tahiti. When we go to Tahiti, I'm like, I would never do that. That's crazy. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. Let's try this. So I started doing stand-up paddle. Excuse me. And then a month later, I find myself out at Pipeline. What the fuck are you thinking? Oh, fuck it. Here we go. And it's just, but it's the kind of thing, I think, when you're trying to be a world-class athlete, it's the kind of shit you gotta do. You gotta push yourself beyond what people say is possible, right? And growing up, they always say, well, you can't drop knee or jack stance pipeline, without grabbing your rail. The only person doing it back then was Jack the Ripper Lindholm, and he would grab his rail to bottom turn and stuff like that. And I always thought to myself, sure, I said it out loud too, because I was very opinionated, let's say. But I always thought to myself, when people would say that, I say, well, maybe you can, but I can't. And, come to fruition, a few years later, that's what happened. I had to go out the pipeline and not use my hands grabbing the board to be able to make bottom turns like that. And so it's always been a thing. It's kind of my way. Is it just, well, if they cannot, then you better be able to, kind of. So, lucky that all worked out. And so now, like, everything is free game. I'm down to do anything.
Well, if you're already here and you're talking about pipe and stuff like that, maybe you shed some light on what is everybody going on right now. Everybody is like, posting about Vance Triple Crown.
It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Tell us.
Well, then there's no Triple Crown. The tour doesn't end in Hawaii. I mean, we're like, how much more is surfing going to try and take Hawaii out of surfing?
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
It's fucking retarded.
But why did they do that? Why did they do it where they take out Vance Triple Crown as to be the last?
So I guess they're trying to shake things up, right? Just like how the NBA has the NBA Cup right now, or you look at NASCAR, they have the NASCAR Sprint at the end of the year where only so many guys qualify. And so they're trying to shake things up and probably make it, in their mind, more exciting. But the problem with what they're doing is they're alienating the core crowd, right? And they're replacing it with fair weather fans, right? So they're okay to get rid of the core and the foundation that build everything, which is the hardcore surfers, right? To replace them with all these people that when they get bored of it, they're going to be gone, right? And a perfect example is the first year Carissa led the tour into whatever that thing they call it at Trestles is now. And she ended up losing in that to Stephanie Gilmore. So Stephanie Gilmore ends up becoming the world champion. So on the top of the list, that's Stephanie Gilmore and the points she had that year. And then second place for the year has Carissa Moore with 12,000 more points than first place. In second place.
It doesn't make sense.
Duh! Right? So if you're going to do that, put some onus on that event and give it more point rating than everything else. So that if the winner wins, they still end up with more points, right? 15,000 for first place, 20,000 for first place.
Yeah.
Or to the point where the person who spent all this money all year on tour, traveling, getting all the points, leading the tour, going into the event, the only advantage they have is that they don't surf the first round or two or whatever it is. I forget because I stopped watching it. I think it's absurd. And I only watched it this year because John was in the final, right? So I wanted to support him. But the reality of it is it's not even that entertaining because it's not pipeline. You can surf trestles for any other event. I've surfed trestles a tons of times in hundreds of events, but it's never going to be pipeline. It's never going to be Hawaii. That's where the sport was born. Duke was the ambassador to the world.
Yeah.
And took it to the world, right? And so same thing too with the ISA events. Hawaii used to be its own country. Now because of the Olympics, Hawaii has to compete as USA now.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever they can do, and whatever they are doing, regardless if they say it's intentional or not, the reality of what they're doing is they're taking Hawaii out of surfing.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing. Triple Crown is one of the biggest things every year. Next to winning
It's
pipe.
the pinnacle of surfing.
Next to winning pipe, the Eddie, and the actual world championship, everybody wants to be a Triple Crown champion.
Yeah.
Right? And, Sonny was a 10-time champion. Parko was a multi-time winner. I mean, you have all these huge names that when they're coming up as the rookies or the new guys, they want to win that. Obviously, as they get into their later years where they're doing so much traveling, they just come to surf pipe because they're qualified already and they don't. But it's a perfect proving ground for these younger kids, and it's a perfect title that they have the opportunity to win. Now they're just winning another contest.
Yeah.
Right? And the Haleiwa and Sunset are just QS events. They're not even CT events. Pipe's the only CT event. Or it's a Challenger series, I think it is. They made so much changes, I don't even know because I just stopped watching.
I feel like they're ruining the sport. Like every year they're ruining the sport more and more. And just they're chipping away. And I don't understand. They should be listening to the crowd. They should be listening to the people.
Oh no, that's the last thing.
And that's the last.
Don't listen to the people.
I just don't understand, bro.
Never.
I just don't fucking get it. Yeah. And they told Jamie O'Brien, "You're too old."
Yeah.
Bruh, fucker is ripping. He's probably the best guy.
Still one of the best, without a doubt. Still, and that's the thing too. If you're gonna make it an invitation only event, then invite the right fucking people.
Yeah.
Age shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
So if Jamie is old, how old is Pops Michael Ho?
Yeah.
So if Jamie's too old, how Pops is older than me? I'm 53. So he's super duper way too old. He hasn't earned the respect to be in that event, even if he, that should be automatic. Someone like that who's still surfing pipeline, still surfing sunset, still out in the surf. Like that should be without a doubt. There should be a list of guys that are automatically entered, and then you bring in the new guys, right? And then what was it last year? They had like an air show or some stupid thing where it's gonna start scoring the punts and stuff higher. Well, how did that work out? You get big pipe. Who's gonna want to punt out there? The boogie boarders will. Those guys these kids are out of their fucking minds. See these guys, bro, 8 to 10 foot, 12 foot back. They'll go backdoor on the closeout purposely just to punt. But you're not going to do that on a surfboard. And nobody wants to see that pipeline.
Yeah.
That's what trestles is for.
Yeah, they want to see fucking barrels.
Right. They want heavy, late, deep, not even supposed to come out after the spit, come out after the second spit. Holy shit, doggy door before it closes out. That's what people want to see. That's what people tune in to see.
Yes.
That, so you look at the beach now, it's not as crowded as it used to be. Because the priority is not the surfers or the surfing. The priority is the people who are making the decisions, make them feel good about themselves, making these stupid decisions that is literally ruining the sport. Same thing happened with bodyboarding. They took what used to be the main event and then turned it into a prone only event. Then you had a drop knee only event and then a stand-up boogie only event. And when I grew up, we had stand-up boogie, right? We had guys like Kevin Yap, Danny Kim, Chris Juan Taloa. And then you had jack stands, drop knee guys like me, Pete Sasaki, Aka Lyman, Jackie Booter. I mean, the list goes on and on. You had Paul Roach from California. You had all these people competing, doing what they do best all at the same time.
Yeah.
But what happens is the people who started making those decisions, the board back then, and I remember this bright as day, as shit as my memory is. Last time I was on tour, we were in Reunion Islands at San Lu, and we had a big board meeting, and I was literally the only guy there representing jack stands and stand-up bodyboarding and stuff. The rest of the guys were all prone. And they decided that this is what it's going to be moving forward. And what's lame about that is if I'm going to win a contest, if I'm going to win a world championship, I want to win it a bit against the best guys doing what they do best, not the best guys doing what I want them to do, or they can only prone.
Yeah.
They can only drop me, or you can only stand up boog. That's fucking stupid. And that's what ruined the sport, number one. And then two, when I grew up and, do interviews and stuff back then, or autograph sessions, we had 5-year-olds to 65-year-olds come in because they all enjoyed bodyboarding. They all loved it, right? And then these geniuses at the top, the powers to be, that made the decision that, okay, yeah, it's going to be a prone event. It's not a main event, and you can only prone, right? And if you want to jack stance or drop knee, you got to go into the DK division, right? And then if you want to stand up boogie, you can only go into the stand up boogie event, and there wasn't enough people in that. So those guys got asked out. So, guys like Danny Kim, who made a living doing it, Kevin Yap, Chris Taloa, wouldn't have been able to make a living in the modern day bodyboarding, boogie board era because they can't do what they do best because it was taken out by the very people who are supposed to be the people taking care of the sport. Same thing that's happening to the WSL right now. And so that's why I stopped watching the WSL. It's just a farce. It's a joke. And it's so easy to fix. It's so easy to fix. Everybody else has ideas except the people at the top of how to fix it, how to make it better. And then bodyboarding was the same thing. And then more events now are having it where you can do everything, but it's not as a whole. The industry hasn't made that decision to go ahead and say, no, fuck that. You want to double knee, you want to do shishi dog, you want to freaking jack stand up, whatever you want to do that.
Yeah, express yourself.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
I want to beat the best at their best. You know what I mean? I don't want to win.
Limit your
because the amount of competitors was limited. Top competitors were limited.
Yeah.
Because back then, a lot of the jack stance guys weren't good prone guys. Period. The stand-up boogie guys, even less. Right? Because they never used fins. They never did 360s lying down and stuff like that. Growing up at the wall, we did everything. Sand slide, right? It's not skimming. The boogie board, we call it sand slide, right?
Yes.
The skim board is skimming, right? So it's just sand slide, right? Go graveyards left, graveyards right, the wall left. So you go stand up, backside. We get the fins, go jack stance, right? Front side, back side. We used to do all of that growing up, and then a lot of the kids growing up now, because their role models are so limited, there aren't as many good, not just jack stance or stand-up boogie guys, but just riders in general. Like I MC a lot of the contests, and I'll watch kids take off on the left on the shoulder with the white water behind them, and then go right through the white water. Like no wave knowledge, doing floppos instead of rollos, like trying to just put in these stupid judging criteria that was actually made for us by surfers. When we were surfing on the PSAA tour, it went from quality to quantity. And back then it was what it was. And it's actually one of the main reasons I stopped touring as well, is because I just wasn't willing to embarrass myself anymore. And lucky this newer generation of kids, like in their late 20s, early 30s, you got like your Matt Crillies, Sammy Moritino from Kauai. These guys, they can do it all. Pavika, from Waimanalo, they can front side, back side, jack stand up boogie, prone left, prone right. Like they can do all of it, right? And so they're lucky because most of their parents were old school, or they grew up around people who had parents who were old school, and you just did everything. That's just what we did, right?
Yeah.
And so these kids were like that, and these kids are super impressive. Like even I always consider myself a tough judge, and I'm actually a worst judge of my own self. Like when I watch videos sometimes, like in the water when I'm doing it, it feels good. Then I watch it in a video, I'm like, that looks like shit. And other people think it's good, but it's still, and I'm glad that even at this age I still feel like that, because then I have to hold my standard higher than anybody else does, because trying to reach that standard is even harder. And if everybody else's standard is here, I already exceeded that. But if I can't exceed what I'm doing, then it gives me more to work toward, more to, not be content, not be just sitting there like, nah, it's pretty cool. I'm okay with that. I'm never okay with that.
Yeah, man, I feel like this whole fiasco with the surfing and WSL, I feel like it's from year to year I get more aggravated, more annoyed, disappointing. And I also don't understand, like, why wouldn't they want to show a guy like Jamie O'Brien, or like people that also
show the older guys who can still fucking kick ass.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
Right?
And more than that, this is not, surfing is not like basketball. It's not like volleyball. It has also history.
Yes.
It has also like an ancient royal sport that came. It's connected to
kings.
It's connected to the island.
Yes.
So if they would do it in Trestles, they would do it anywhere else. I would be like, it is what it is. We're moving on, whatever, evolution, call it whatever you want. But in here, they need to do it different. They need to be more respect for the people that are growing up in this fucking wave every day, surfing when it's good, when it's bad, when it's small, when it's super high. They're there every fucking day paying their dues. So not to invite them, I think it's super disrespectful.
But absolutely, there's nothing more disrespectful than that, right? That's like somebody throwing a party in your backyard and then not inviting you.
Yeah. That's a good
Jamie's
analogy.
Backyard.
Yeah.
Right? He literally grew up 2 houses down from the trail.
Yeah.
Right? And then lives the front house on the trail now. So his backyard is literally pipeline. What is more disrespectful than that? Thankfully, everybody spoke out. Kala Alexander actually had a great post. I was like, fuck, couldn't said it better myself. Repost. And, the next day, Jamie got invited. But the fact that we have to do that is ridiculous. And this is the thing about Hawaii, and especially Haole. And Haole doesn't refer just to white, just people who are not locals born and raised, who are not Kama'aina, who are not Kanaka Maoli, right? That they don't understand until they come here. Or if they come here and they're with the right people, they'll understand this. What Hawaii has, what Tahiti has, Fiji, and all these places, with all these Aotearoa, right? With all these Polynesian cultures, is the land, the aina, the water, right? The beach, the kahakai, the kai, the vai, has mana in it, right? And you could tell if you're in tune when you get off the plane, you go on a trip, you come home. I'm like, holy shit, so good to be home, right? You feel
100%.
It's a different feeling than you feel anywhere else. And what happens with mana and all these different things that we are so fortunate, so blessed to be raised with, right? It's also our kuleana, right? To follow this legacy and to build on this legacy that we leave for the next generation. And what happens, and I think you not being born and raised in Hawaii, but being here, like you said, for the last 18 years, try do something you're not supposed to do and see how long that actually lasts before, not something bad, things just don't go the way they should be. So I think people might think I'm crazy, oh, this guy, this Hawaiian culture shit and this, but it's a reality, right? I believe that there's ghosts, whether you believe it or not. The shit is real. We grew up with that, right? We opake and all of this, any kind of stuff, right? The graves and all of this stuff. There's that mana, that power that we grew up with, that the island exudes. If you are disrespectful to it, eventually it's gonna break everything down, right? That's like taking home volcano rocks.
Yeah.
You take them back to the mainland, right? That's why they're set back in hundreds and thousands every year. Because that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Well, there's some crazy shit happening. How do you explain? Send the rock back, see what happens, right? And so that is the sport. By doing that, by being disrespectful, is going the same way. It's all falling apart.
Yeah.
Right in front of their eyes, and they keep making decisions that create more breakage, more falling apart. And like you said, chipping away slowly but surely. But now those chips are getting bigger, and it's degrading a lot faster.
And, you know, the first time that I was really disappointed and I was shocked that it's actually happening was when you know, all the surf companies, which was like cool surf companies started by shapers, by surfers, by you name it, you know, the big corporations just started to buy them off. Now I also understand, like, the shaper or whoever that might be like, bruh, frick, they offer me 3-4 million. Why, not gonna take it? Gonna take it. But what happens is that as one company owns
Everything.
all of the surf, all. Like last year, they bought also Ruka, Billabong, Quicksilver. Everybody's under one fucking umbrella.
Jeez.
All of them. And then guess what? What happens when you're a publicly traded company? Try save money. Try reduce expenses. Now they're cutting all of those surfers that have been sponsored for years and used to get their money from those companies. One day you get a fucking email and, oh, from next month, we're not going to renew. If you want, you get a fraction of what you used to get, or not, get the fuck out. Now they're still using the pictures of everybody because, you know, it's like they own it. Yeah. So they're still using the pictures, they're still using the videos, they're still using the names and everything because they can, right? But those people no more make money.
Hello, you see Waikiki Shopping Plaza? All the windows?
Yeah.
They don't ride for them anymore.
Yeah.
This is not with freaking Roxy anymore.
Yeah. Clea Moniz not with Roxy anymore and still get her picture on.
All over. And that's the thing. They want their cake and they want to eat it too, but they're not willing to give. And that's where...
And that's Hawaii.
Right. It's... What is more Hawaii than that?
Right?
What is more Hawaii than that?
They're
only taking.
Yeah.
Right? But you look, right, at all these public traded companies.
They're going to cancel us.
Why?
Nah, I'm just kidding.
No, here's the thing. It's not derogatory. It's an observation.
No, it's not even an observation. It's a truth.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's a matter of fact. It's a fact. And then look at how they're trading. They're trading like shit. Again, because they're getting away from the roots. It's all corporate.
Yeah.
Like certain things are built a certain way because they're meant to be that way. And yes, everything needs to progress and everything needs to grow. But again, like we say in Hawaii, it's being pono. Doing what's right is doing what's right. Doing what's wrong is what's wrong. Period. A truth cannot be a lie, and a lie cannot be a truth. A black is not white.
100%.
I don't give a shit about what you feel you are. If you got a swingy between your legs, sorry about it. You're still a man.
100%.
Okay? If I'm dark and I'm Hawaiian, I'm going to be Hawaiian. I cannot say I want to be a popolo female. No matter if that's what I identify with. I identify with, right? It's not a fact. It's not a truth. You can't change that shit. You can, you can get surgery to change that kind of stuff, but the reality of everything else is just because you want it to be doesn't mean that it is.
Yeah.
You cannot. The roots is gone. When you know more the Hawaiians, you know more the roots. Not like Hawaiians, stewards of the land, right? Surfing is a sport of the land. Not literally, but
Look, the
when you
land of
think about
Hawaii,
it, it's
Yeah.
nature.
Kingdom, our nation.
But wherever you go, you depend on nature to conduct your sport. And if you're not paying respect to the nature that it comes from, you don't think the nature one day going to disrespect
Of
you.
course.
100%.
You know what I
Here's
mean?
a perfect example. When was the last time you saw 12-foot tiger sharks coming through Queens? Honolulu Harbor, Waianae Harbor, Nanakuli Beach Park, Kahe Point. In the fucking...
Yeah.
Never in my lifetime.
Except
And I
last
surf-
year.
It's happening right now.
Yeah.
And so, to your point, if you take all of the sea life away from the creatures who need to eat it, where are they going to go?
They're going to come to shore.
Same thing when they build towns into the forest. And then they freak out when the bears come into the town. The cougars, lions come into the town.
Yeah.
No more food. Got to go where the food is. That's the same thing we're going through right now. Not ever in my life. Just to see sharks here and there. But this is a weekly thing now.
Yeah.
It's like clockwork. You throw the chum in the water. Boom, they're going to come. Before you throw them in the water, the fish will come.
Yeah.
Now the fish don't come because they know the shark is coming. This is, in my opinion, I haven't done a shit ton of research on it, but enough to understand that longliners, not only do they destroy and capture all the sea life and only use what they can sell and throw the rest back, but with the lion's dragon, they destroy the ecosystem.
Yeah.
They destroy the reef.
Yeah.
They destroy everything that line touches.
Yeah.
So the shark's body, it's too much to process the whole shark. Nobody eats the whole shark, so they just cut the fins off to throw the shark back in the water. Catch the turtle, I cannot sell that dead, throw them back in the water. Dolphins, same thing, the thing dead already. We can't make money off it, throw it in the water, back in the water. And so, on top of all of that waste, and then they're destroying the ecosystem. So if you don't have an ecosystem, you can't recycle. There's no circle of life for everything to come back. And so, that's as far as I can tell, the biggest thing, and before you would see shark attacks, but never shark eat. I don't know what the word is, right? Like a shark eating somebody. Or just last year or so, that happened in Australia. I literally watched it. My friend just showed me the video the other day, and the shark literally ate half of his body, and his torso was floating there. It came back for the rest of the torso.
Yeah.
Normally they take a bite.
They don't like
they don't
it.
like the
They go.
taste.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. But that's evolution.
Yeah.
If that's all get for eat, then they're gonna start eating humans, right? Just like
Makes
our
sense.
homeless.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to eat food out of a trash can. But if you don't have food and you're hungry, you can get them from wherever you can.
Yeah.
And so that's the first time in my lifetime that a shark actually ate the person. They didn't like bite off a leg
Yeah.
and then take off, right? It attacked them, took the bottom half of his body, came back and ate the whole torso, took the whole torso too.
That's
that
crazy.
has never happened. I've never seen that happen. All the shark attacks you see, they bite.
Yeah.
They're like, tastes like shit. I don't like it, but fuck, I'm hungry. Let's go try again. Shitty. Take a
Oh.
chunk out, take a leg, take an arm. Like what happened with Bethany or Mike Coots and stuff like that.
We had Mike Coots on the podcast.
Right. But nobody's actually, I've never seen or heard until that event in Australia, somebody actually being eaten and the shark coming back to finish the job.
Yeah.
And so what is that? No more food.
Yeah.
Right? So now they're going to force them to evolve to start eating humans. What else they going to do? No more food.
I never thought about that angle. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And because the fact that we're seeing it happen so much more often now than ever before, at least I know for sure in my lifetime, that there's no food, right? And again, like you said, Holly style, everybody just take, right?
Yeah.
And sadly enough, that trickles down to the locals too. They're like, well, fuck, if they can take everything, I'm gonna take everything too.
Yeah.
And so everybody got this colonial mindset, right? This howling mindset, this thought process. Well, I'm gonna just take. I don't can eat them all, but yeah. And if you take and you give to everybody, then perfect. That's what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Right. That's what the Ahupua'a system is that existed because the guys in the mountain would trade with the guys on the by the ocean.
We get
Or
extra.
halfway, yeah.
You get extra.
You kalo, right? You get the wood to make your house, right? Yeah, I get fish. You guys like fish, right? Yeah, I get fish. We could trade fish.
Yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff. That's how, right? The Ahupua'a and the kapu system was the way it was, and why it thrived for so long prior to colonialism, and you know, them coming and changing everything and taking the culture out, taking the language out, taking the hula out, taking olelo, taking, you know, the songs, the chants, taking everything out of who and what we were, to basically, you know, Uncle Frank Hewitt says it best. He always says, we've become good Americans. That's disgusting to hear coming out of my mouth. It tastes like shit. It tastes terrible. But the fact is, it's fucking true.
Bruh, is there a way to turn surfing into a cultural practice?
It is. It's
The
listed
same,
as a
like,
cultural practice.
You know, like how hula has an honor to it. Now, is there a way to turn it into, is there a way to create a merry monarch of surfing?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, absolutely.
What?
Take the Triple Crown back and we do it our damn
You know what I'm
self.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like how there is a prestige.
Yeah.
To
It's
the
like the Eddie.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
It's like the Eddie, and that's a big wave thing. But, you know, to me, the Triple Crown was always something that is special and specific to Hawaii. You know, especially where the multiple time winners, you know, the top multiple winners are Hawaiian and or local, born and raised here, right? You know, Sonny's number one. And I think Concho Sullivan, Miles, Padaka, like a bunch of these guys won multiple titles too. And not only is it a big thing for the international guys, but big thing for the locals.
Yeah.
Right? To defend our home court.
Who owns that brand? Is that a brand, the Triple Crown?
Yeah, it was when it was started, I believe it was Randy Rarick.
Yeah.
And then I think the WSL actually owns it. Now our Vans may own it. I'm not sure who actually owns the Triple Crown itself, but we don't have to call it Triple Crown. We can do something different. I have tons of ideas on that. You know, if we just had resources and funding to do it.
But keep it so that we can control it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, no. The problem is we should have never gave away the control in the first place.
yeah.
If we give out the permits, you say this is what you got to do. You need this much local surfers in your event.
Which is another problem, because now, you know, you have to apply for a permit, all right? So when I remember there was a big fuss because I think last year or 2 years ago, the Backdoor shootout, they didn't want to give him a permit, or not for that exact month, because it was already applied for and blah. So people went out and said, what do you mean we're not going to get the permit? This permit exists already. Like, we're doing it for the past 20, 30, 40 years. What are you talking about?
Well, you know
taking
how
it
that
away
originally happened is the ASP at the time wanted a different spot. So that spot opened up. And then the shootout took it over. And then now, that time of the year, the waves are 99.9% of the time better than they are for the Pipe Masters. But they wanted to change the time of year because they, quote unquote, thought the waves were better at the time. So that slot opened up, and then that's where the Backdoor shootout had been in that slot for years. And now, because the shootout is always a better event than the Pipe Masters the last, I don't know, 10 to 15 years, right? It's always a better event, better waves, better surfers, because you have actual pipe surfers in the event, no matter what their age, no matter where they're from. You know, like, when I was emceeing that event, one of my favorite teams is Team Japan. Because those guys, they don't get to surf it that often. And never do they get to surf it with nobody out. So these guys, I call them Team Kamikaze. Because they're nuts. They just take off on a big closeouts. They don't even care. They're having the time of their life. They got pipeline to themselves for an hour. And these guys, bro, they just charge. And I love watching those guys. Those guys are so much fun to watch because there aren't too many other people enjoying it as much as they are. You know, and then you get other guys, like one of my other favorite surfers in that event is Balaram Stack. And he just won, I think, last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. But he's like me. Like, if I'm paddling out in a contest, even though I need, like, say, like a 6 or 7 or 7 or 8, but a perfect 6 comes in as a perfect bow, I'm going to take off and go. Right? Especially with the the criteria, the judging criteria that they use for the shootout, it's just your best wave. The whole rest of the time, you're just sitting waiting for the best wave. Well, when a good one comes in, shit, I'm turning around, right? And Balaram Stack is just like that. He'll take off at gums. He'll go backdoor. He'll go pipe and shit. Paddle out. Oh, this inside double up, perfect right on the sandbar. Takes off, gets proud, spit out. That's a 6 or 7, but who cares? That wave just went unridden the whole time from all the other heats. Now you got it all to himself, like a little kid. If I was in a contest, that's what I'd be like, oh shit, I'm this one, nobody around. Yup, I'm cool with it. Like, doesn't have to be, of course, you want to get the 10s, 11s, and 12s to win the damn thing. But shit, if those perfect little waves come in, I'm not going to waste it, again, because of the respect and the gratitude that I have for Pipeline and what Pipeline has done for me in my career. And to be out there with only 5 other guys, 3 or 4 other guys, whatever it is now, is, bruh, it's a dream come true. And I'd be more into making the most of my time. And if within that time I end up winning too, fucking A, right on.
Yeah.
But I can tell you one thing for sure. This guy is going to be the guy having the most fun out there. Automatic. You know?
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Because it's so corporate now, all of that, like you said, the soul, the heart and soul being taken out of it, right?
Yeah.
So all these kids, they get their stupid parents walking down the beach with like 6 boards. The kid's like this tall, like 6 to 10 years old. They're never going to use any of those other boards. It's ridiculous. You give them one board. Us, we had to use the board underneath the house. And I've been sitting there that my dad used to use when he was our age. Hey, right there, go use this. You're fine. And then we all share that board. But again, if you give them too much, they don't understand the value of money. They don't understand the value of that product. They don't understand the value or the respect that it took to get where their parents are to be able to do that for them. Because we just give it to them. Somebody give you something, oh, right on. Somebody give me something, oh, right on, bro. Thank you so much. Because I'm truly super stoked. Whatever that may be. Hey, you give me free boards, I'm going to be your best friend.
But it's good too, because you get to also analyze it, right? Like when you have that one board, like for you, your instance, like when you were explaining earlier, I was just getting so lost on how like intricate you understand every inch of a board. And it all probably started from having to figure out your board.
Yep. Well, because I had to figure out what worked best for me. What works best for me, not going to work best for you.
Yeah.
Not going to work best for you. Might work good. Might even be pretty fucking awesome. But it's not the best. Right? And the whole point is you can't be the best if you don't have the best equipment, frame of mind, fitness, right? All of that kind of stuff. There's a reality to what it takes to be the best. That reality is a hard reality. And when I was younger, I literally took it all for granted because all I did was travel. And I use this analogy, right? So people usually understand this analogy better. I go, hey, what if you went on a fishing trip and never caught any fish? It's a shitty fishing trip. You can stay at home, drink beers with your friends, hanging out on a boat anytime, at the beach, at home barbecuing, right? But you travel all the way, halfway across the world to go surf. And then there was no waves. Or the waves you competed in was shitty. And I was always this size, right? I was the tallest guy. I was always 6'2". Even, graduating from high school, I was 165. Oddly enough. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm about 100 pounds more than that right now. Hopefully not 100 pounds more. But the thing is, people like, all they see is the glitz and the glamour. See the movies. They see the magazine articles, online articles. They see the trophies and the smiles and the parties and everybody having a good time. But behind all of that, there's a work that goes in year round, right? Time away from your family. Right? Your family sacrifices way more than you do. When you're an athlete, in order to be the best, you have to be a selfish motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it, right? And who suffers the most for that? Your family.
Yeah.
So who sacrifices the most is your family. It took me to be this old to understand that. When I was younger, I was like, fuck it, this is what I got to do, support my family. But I love what I was doing until I didn't, right? And then, having all this quantity over quality surfing and stuff like that, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do it anymore. The worst case scenario, I'm gonna die, at least from my sport, having my integrity intact, because they know that I took a stand, and if I'm on an island on my own, that's fine. I'm totally okay with that, you know. And I also lost tens of thousands of dollars in contracts because companies wanted to sponsor me, but I don't believe in the product, so I'm not gonna endorse anything I believe in. So if you see a post with me, you know, either reposting or talking about that product, it's because I believe in that product. I use it myself, and I'm gonna make sure that my wife and my kids and my brothers, my sister and my nieces and nephews like it too before I actually endorse it. Even if the contract is for good money, it's not worth it to me because it's fake bullshit. And a lot of people, especially now with social media, they have their real life and they have their social media life, which is usually 180-degree different. What you see is bullshit. What you see on my page, that's what I run every day, all day, that's just my life. And I don't do a lot of social media. I grew up old school, and I was raised that if you're doing something worth doing, somebody else is going to tell somebody else about it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can tell you about themselves. Anybody can do selfies, and anybody can film themselves talking about how great they are. But when somebody actually talks about you and says that, brah, this guy is worthy, let's put him in the magazine. You know what? Let's see if he wants to go on a trip. Let's go send him a trip. You know what? Let's do a fucking interview. Right now, you can do your own interview.
Yeah.
You sit here, I set all of this up for myself by myself, talking about myself the whole time. Yeah. What is that? That's easy.
Yeah.
You know, anybody can tell you how good they are, but how good are they really? Again, what they say on social media and what is reality, two different things.
Yeah, and I think integrity and transparency nowadays is a rare commodity. Everybody,
because it doesn't sell.
Yeah. People
Right?
want to
Like
glitz
my
and
wife, she
glam.
watches all this Real Housewife bullshit. I go, what's so real about that? You got a bunch of 30, 40, 50-year-olds acting like fucking high schoolers.
Yeah.
Or fucking intermediate age kids. I'm like, that's embarrassing. Like, do they not watch themselves and think, fuck, I can't do this anymore? That was the epiphany I had. And I watched one day, I was sitting there watching the contest, right? And then they made that decision in the Reunion Islands. Then I watched the contest after I lost. Oh, actually, I think I made the final, but sat there watching it. I was like, I don't want to fucking be a part of this. I don't want to even be associated with this. I don't want my name anywhere fucking where near this, whatever this is, right? This product that they're starting to put out, this is dog shit. And I said, watch. In about 20 years, these fuckers are all going to regret this decision. Because now, in Hawaii and in the U.S., the continent as a whole, bodyboarding is non-existent. NSSA doesn't even have a boogie division anymore. It's big international. Like Tahiti is huge because, you know, their public buses, like little Toyota trucks, you know, like the old school 70s, 80s trucks we used to have, with the cover over the top, and so easier they can take it on the bus. So plenty of kids in Tahiti, those kids are fucking ripping. Kids in, you know, South America, you know, they're all ripping, and it's cheaper than surfing and all of that stuff. But in America, it's fucking dead.
That's dead. Crazy.
And back in the 80s and 90s, we were out selling surfboards 10-1 with our eyes closed all day, every day. I couldn't keep my signature models in the stores, even if we tried.
I feel like the experience is more fun, boogie boarding, only because you're so fast, close to the water, everything like that. But I think it's harder to put a boogie boarder on a magazine, because you know how magazines are like this
2D.
Yeah, like so, like, you know, surfers standing, easy to put on. Boogie boarder is usually on your stomach, spinning. It doesn't have a profile. Well, that was a
thing back in the day. All the surf magazines actually had boogie board magazines, had bodyboard magazines.
And so what would
bodyboarding, bodyboarder, Pit magazine, Riptide in Australia. And, you know, they show the barrels all look good, and the big aerial maneuvers and stuff.
The aerials.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Market that shit.
Yes. Launch.
Stop fucking accepting less money or more money to go to shittier spots. Accept less money to better spots that are more conducive for high quality bodyboarding.
Mm-hmm.
Places like Pipeline, places like Te Ahupo, right? Places like Fiji, Cloudbreak, even restaurants, like stuff. Bodyboarding needs something that's heavier and more barreling, right? All the time, not just some of the time. For surfing, you can get, those guys are fucking destroying Huntington Beach. It's like, what the fuck? Like, these guys are not human, right? But, a wave like Teahupo, Pipeline, even back in the day, we were fortunate enough to have events at like VLAN. Fucking VLAN for bodyboarding. Fucking, that wave is so awesome. I love it for surfing too, but with bodyboarding, it's cheating. It's all cheat code. You just fucking fall in and you just sit. You just sit. Okay, move up a little bit, and you can just sit the whole time, and you can punt on the way out, rolos, arces, backflips, do all that stuff. And there's a particular brand of bodyboarding that is actually mind blowing. And if you just showed that all the time, people would fall in love with it all over again.
100%.
But, this is a perfect example. Back in the day, we used to do the U.S. Open. They used to have a bodyboard division. And when the bodyboarding started, all the surfers would go take a break to go eat. Not like now how they get all the food and stuff like that. Back then, everybody still got the stands, you got the competitor side, right? And the spectator side. But then you still have to bring your own food or go eat and stuff like that. When bodyboarding came on, they would take a break. And I don't blame them. I went with them. Once I was done, I'd be like, fuck you, wait till I pow. I'll go with you guys. And then I'd be out of there. Who wants to watch that shit? There's nothing more boring. But I gotta say, one year, my friend Jason Bitcher had the American Series Tour, including Hawaii, and they paid me to come up and MC the event. And I gotta say, Sammy Moratino blew my fucking mind. 1 2-foot Huntington Beach. Big backside snaps, like real backside jack stand snaps. Massive. And they were giving 10s, and me, I don't even remember if I've ever given a 10 when I judge. And I hardly judge because I hate judging. And I hate judges. As a competitor, I've gotten to hate them pretty damn well. But I would always be low judge. And when they threw out the 10, I'm like, yeah, that's fucking legit. And it takes a lot for me to get there. I think the only person worse than me is Tina O'Brien, Jamie's wife.
Yeah.
She's low judge. That's why I call her low judge, is my nickname for her. Because every year at the foam record, she's always low judge. I'm like, hey, you get high scores on her scorecard, you're going to win. So do whatever she wants you to do. Because then everybody else will give you even higher scores.
For foam records, my judging criteria was when I was judging at the last year Red Bull foam records, I said at 10 if you get out escorted in EMS.
Well, one guy, that wave was nuts too. Like he literally did the floater right on the shore break and literally just boom, right his shoulder right into.
That's why I gave it 9 to Keahi Delovio when she did a headstand right in the fire. Boom! Yeah. I'm like, okay, that's a 9 right there.
And so similar to bodyboarding, boogie boarding, you need a specific wave to make foam records.
Yeah.
Truly to be foam records.
Yeah.
Right. And Sandy Beach is the perfect place because you go from the reef into the shore break, or you can surf in the shore break, or you can surf at half point, pipe littles, and it's all set up perfectly for that event.
There's no other competition over there.
Oh, they had a bunch around different, I think the other one is San Clemente. And I think that one does well every year. Then they had a few others, but the problem is, it's just like a big party wave. Everybody's on the wave, same wave, trying to do all.
No, but I mean, in Sandy's, there's no other competition, are there?
Oh yeah, there's all kinds.
There's all kinds.
We have the So Stoked Boogie series that my friend Hanale and John, they do at event. I MC a lot of those events, and so now the boogie boarding, like the So Stoked Boogie series, is basically bodyboarders my age or the generation or two under, looking around going like, bro, there's no fucking boogie board contest anymore. NSSA doesn't have it. HASA doesn't have it. Like, okay, so we got to do for ourselves, right? And so they start their, these tours, and so it gives the kids something to compete in.
Yeah.
And so, thankfully, God is good. We got the permit for the next 3 years for Pipeline.
Wow.
So that's an invitation only. And they're inviting even old guys like me. So if Jamie is old, what the fuck does that make me? But they're doing it pono. They're doing it the way it's supposed to be done. What is right and what is wrong. So they're doing it right. So you're gonna have a bunch of legends, not just legends of the sport, but legends out at Pipeline itself. So I'm excited to see the lineup this year. As I'm also emceeing that event. But this is like it's not rocket science. These guys are the best at what they do. These guys were the best. If they still want to enter, let them fucking enter, because they're gonna get the biggest cheers out of everybody. Even the people getting tens and stuff, it's gonna be awesome. But say if like Pops Michael Ho just took off on like a big pipe wave grab rail or went backdoor and just got barreled, people would be going crazy, even if it was like a 5 or a 6, just because at his age he's still doing it.
The other wave he took 2 years ago went viral all over the world for 2 months. Everywhere you looked, every fucking.
That's the point.
Exactly.
What is better marketing than that? You fucking idiots. Let them do what they do best. Period.
100%.
It's that simple. And get the best guys doing the best shit at the best spot, at their spot, their backyard.
100%.
I don't know what the thought process or how they think or why they think. To me, it's simple.
Jeremy Stithenson at Princeton does not understand what is going on.
I'm tired of this shit already.
You know what I mean? Like,
so your degree means fuck all to me. Sit down with me and tell me why the way is breaking the way it's breaking.
Ooh.
Could he? No, he couldn't even go to school. He can talk about all the science, but the reality of it is, why is it breaking in that direction? Where's the swell coming from? What's the wind doing? How strong is the wind? Just by looking at it, not using your phone to fucking test how strong it is. I can tell you. It's 5 to 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour. It's onshore coming out of the west. It's south, offshore trade winds, whatever, right? And even more so, like, take it to like the umpteenth level. Like, these guys chasing these double XL waves all over the world, right? Nazare, Keahi, Mavericks. Like, these kids now are fucking scientists. They can read the weather map and know exactly what's going to happen. And they'll fly out just to catch it and then watch it. Okay, this day going to be good over there. And 99% of the time, they're right. Like me, I just call the buoys. And then I do the math from the time I get the buoy, right? The size of the swell compared to the interval. You time those two together and then you divide it by 2, and that's about the average height. And then, if it's the Kauai buoy, it takes about 7 to 10 hours to get here. And then, so should be hitting about this time. That's how we grew up. Like, buoys was our technology. Now these kids, like, they look at all the weather maps, they look at the wind map. I'm looking at it. It could be in Japanese or Greek for all I fucking know. It wouldn't make any sense to me. The different colors. And even if they get the color chart over here, red is, this is the one, red is the one. That's the big fucking, I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know this stuff, right? Like I said, I'm old school. And, watching these kids call those, like the Kai Lennys, you got the Walsh brothers, Ian Walsh, DK, right? The twins. And, you got all these guys from all over the world that are like so dialed into that stuff. And to me, it's super impressive. And if I had the opportunity, I would love to do all that stuff, And
I feel like Kai Lenny is a real new age waterman, because he does everything. He serves.
Well, the difference between him and like a waterman of my day or my age is, right, I was bodyboarding, boogie boarding, and then shortboard, longboard, sup, foil. But the big advantage he has, like Zane Schweitzer, these like a lot of the Maui kids, they grew up with the wind sports too.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm gonna be honest, like, pretty much everything Kai does is super impressive. But my favorite thing to watch him do is kiteboarding.
Wow.
Watching him kiteboard. So they flew me up years ago to learn how to kiteboard, and when he was doing his Positivity Kai Red Bull TV episodes. And so one episode was me learning how to kite surf. And I was there for about a week, and I started getting it toward the end, but wasn't great. And then, so they had a photo shoot, I forgot, with his sponsor, and I sat there and watched, because it's all windy and blown out, so it's perfect for wind sports. I sat there and watched it. I was just literally mesmerized by what he was doing compared to what everybody else was doing. Everybody's doing the same moves and same backflips, that and whatnot. It's just something about the way he did it was that much better than everybody else. To me, my personal opinion. And I sat there watching and go, I'm not much of a spectator. I get bored easily. I'm a what is the phrase that yeah, easily amused, easily bored.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, yeah. Okay, I'm done. I'm out, right? It's microwave society. And so yeah, that's me. I'm that guy. And if you can capture my attention for an extended amount of time, you're doing something special, because I just be like, okay, I'm good. I saw what I need to see. And I was watching him that day, and I had a car, but I didn't leave. I just watched, and I watched everybody else. Really that good.
Yeah.
And then he starts doing everything else, big waves, foiling, and all of that. But still, every time when he posts, even the windsurfing stuff, still my favorite is kite surfing. So like he's been doing a lot of that because the winds are peaking. And I was stoked. I was watching it a few times. I'm like, yes, get to watching kite surf. But watching it in person, is priceless.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that is better, like going to a concert, right? You see
Yeah.
your favorite
Yeah.
group in concert. It usually 99% of the time they're better than the record, right? And that's what I love about like Hawaiian music. Our local music scene is they're not lip syncing.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go, they fucking singing.
Yeah.
Right? Even when they do big concerts, they singing.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. Because it'd be embarrassing to me as a local if these fuckers were lip syncing.
Yeah.
Right? And so and it makes for a better show. And even if the voice cracks, it's real.
Yeah.
Nobody can do that much shows and the voice no crack.
I didn't
Hello?
too small though. We all start roasting fast. You know what I mean? Like word get around too fast over here.
Well,
Somebody-
especially now, everybody get camera, right?
Yeah. Bro, somebody try. It'd be over. What? Do you know what though?
Well, that's what they deserve.
Yeah.
Because you're not respecting
Yeah.
the art form. You're not doing it justice. It's your kuleana to perpetuate that. And if you're not doing that, then you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And that's, how I feel about a lot of the sports and, not just our culture or not just surfing and stuff, just in general. Like, if it's giving back to you, then you need to give back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, like, when I do surf lessons and people hit the reef, I say, hey, free Hawaiian tattoo. There you go, scored. And I always say you got to leave some to get some.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of anything, right? There's a balance, right? And you cannot just always get. You got to give at some point. Sometimes you give more than you like to, right? You get fucking destroyed on the reef or whatever.
Especially
But-
pipes, huh? I mean, my goodness.
No, I've gotten bust up out there. I almost drowned out there. I almost drowned in Tahiti. But that's part of what we do. Like, it's just the reality, even with all the vests and stuff like that. If it's your time, it's your time, I believe, and I think I don't want to live in a bubble. Never wanted to. Like, I want to blow that bubble up and go fucking everywhere else, right? And I think, and that's what I like about a lot of the Maui kids too. Like, those kids grew up surfing, windsurfing, kite surfing, winging, and all of that. And you got Ridge, Ty's brother. You got this younger kid. He was like this big when I first met him, and I was doing emceeing Kai's contest. So I'm fortunate enough that they fly me up every year, and I MC Kai's contest for the weekend. And first it started when it had a surfing, a hardboard division, and then most of it stop boogie boarding. Now it's just all soft boards and boogie boards. So similar to like how foam records, you can only use soft boards. And kid was like this big. I used to call him Sir Otis. Otis Buckingham is such a English royalty name in my brain, at least my Hawaiian brain here in Hawaii. And I always call him Sir Otis. And I showed up one year and he's like my height. I'm like, holy shit, what the hell happened? And then I see him on Instagram just ripping on his childhood idol, Sky Lenny.
Yeah.
And they're good family friends. That's what's cool about surfing compared to like many other sports. You can actually grow up with your idol.
Yeah.
They live in your backyard.
Yeah.
They're approachable.
Yeah.
Right? This is a thing too. Like, we used to do autograph sessions Autograph sessions was supposed to only be like an hour. Sometimes we go 4 or 5 hours. Never leave if somebody was still in line. And nowadays, these guys are too fucking cool. Huh? Cannot even show up. That's the shit that drives me crazy. I would show up because those kids show up for us.
But the one good change that happened, in my opinion, in the surf industry, that nowadays the surfers are being looked at more as athletes, and before it was more like
Beach
bums, and then
stoners,
and it was like, you know, who gets the most fucked up, trashed, drink, you know, do whatever, and then still go charge.
Right.
Now everybody's like family is like, be healthy, work out, train during the summer, you know. Because back in the day, if you think about it, people got bored on the North Shore on the summer. No waves, no nothing. They just got fucking house parties, get fucked up and whatever, you know. Now people are athletes. They take it serious. And that, I think, is a good evolution that happened to the sport.
That's probably the only good thing that's happened to it within the past 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
And then also being an Olympic sport. That's long overdue.
Yeah.
Right. And when you have a proper venue, then it makes it worth it. So I'm interested to see what the LA Olympics are going to look like and what the surfing is going to look like. Right. The Paris Olympics, they did it right. They didn't do it in France. They did it at Hawail, where it's supposed to be done. Right. And, you know, all credit to them, even though they wanted to build this fucking city on the reef, fuck it all up and stuff like that. So I haven't heard much about that situation, but apparently it seems like they came to enough of a compromise with the locals and, you know, with the IOC and stuff like that. So thankful. Like the waves, you know, there's still some crazy sick chopo days, right? And then not so much. That's just how it is. If you have a multi-day competition, it's hard to get waves.
Yeah.
But if you at least choose a venue that's not even a good venue, that's an A+ venue, chances that you get A+ performances are a lot higher. Possibilities that you get A+ waves are that much higher. It's unrealistic for it to happen every day, right? That's why there's a holding period. But the reality of it is you give yourself the best chance to put out the best product, right? And to have the product, which is the surfers and the wave, be in sync with each other and be happy to be doing it. Not competing on some shitty, dumpy beach break. And, you know, you got, even like when the first year I was in the Olympics, was it in Japan?
Yeah.
Right? They still had a place where the waves weren't great, but they were at least bigger. Right? And if you're going to win an Olympic medal, you can only win it once every 4 years. So it should be tasking. It should be trying. It should be fucking hard. You should,
and it better be exciting, because if not, we're not going to watch. If you're not going to watch, it's not going to exist. And if it's not going to exist, then it's gone. The whole sport is not even...
Right. And that's what happens. I mean, they took wrestling out of the fucking Olympics. Talking about fucking up the Olympics.
They took wrestling out?
Yes.
Like
the original regular Roman wrestling, Greco wrestling.
Yeah.
No shit.
Gone. Well, I think it's called Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yeah.
It was one of the original events in the first Olympiad. And they fucking took it out.
Holy shit, I didn't know they did. I know they got rid of breakdancing, which I was super stoked for at first. But
if it's good breakdancing, right? And so this is the problem with that. Like, so what are the qualifications that they got to do to qualify to be in the Olympics? Right?
It's hard. Because that involves culture. And they didn't do their research on culture.
Again, they didn't put the right people in the right place to do what they do best.
Mm-hmm.
If you want the best product, especially if it's an athletic, entertaining event, we'll put the best athletes out there in the best for surfing, best waves, right? Best venue for breakdancing. Where is the hottest place in Paris? Not just the place where there's the most people. You want the most people that are going to come to the event.
Mm-hmm.
You put them in the middle of Paris. You put them at the Arc de Triomphe, right? And all kind of people who don't even know what the fuck going on are going to show up. But then that's it. They watch for 5 minutes and they leave. You don't have the people like right now with surfing. You don't have the core people watching surfing anymore.
Yeah.
So eventually it's going to die. Right?
By the way, are you still a lifeguard?
Yep. So I'm lifeguarding City and County, 16 years now. In May will be 17.
North Shore or you?
No, we moved out to the west side 4 years ago. So I've been on the west side for 4 years lifeguarding out there. And then I worked the mature a couple times earlier this season. So my main district is D4, which is West Side. And then, some days work in other districts if they.
Where is it the most scariest place to lifeguard?
I don't know, because stupid is as stupid does. Right? Forrest Gump said it best, and you can't fix stupid. So this is one of the things I came up with even before lifeguarding, and it was even more solidified. Was there is nothing more uncommon than common sense.
I can see that.
Right? So this is what happened. People live wherever they live. When they leave to Hawaii, they forget all their common sense. Fucking things stuck at home. They get to the hotel or Airbnb, wherever they're staying, right? Then whatever stuck to them, that stuck its way onto the airplane, is stuck at wherever they're staying. Because I can tell you one thing, it's where it's not at the fucking beach. They show up at the beach. These guys are just like total fucking idiots. They have no fucking idea, no clue, right? And I'm not going to lump them all into the same category, because we have people who are respectful enough. They come up and ask, yeah, we're not used to this. So, what would you recommend? Well, today's not that day. If you're here asking, it tells me everything I need to know. My job is to take you someplace safer. One, so you don't get in trouble. But two, because you're going to have more fun. Right? Most people come on vacation, they want to have a good time. They don't want the shit scared out of them. Yeah. Unlike surfers, where we try and find the biggest waves or gnarliest waves, and that you're afraid, but that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for adrenaline rush. Most people are coming, they just want to snorkel, see some beautiful fish, some honu, right? They want to see the and if they get lucky, they'll see some whales and stuff like that. But they don't want to be in trouble. They're not chasing the adrenaline. We are, right? And so a lot of them just come and they think they know everything, and they're way cooler and smarter than us. And they find out the hard way again, because the mana, right? Because there's a power here. There's something, that an energy that eventually they're going to get into trouble. And some people don't, so they never learn. But then you don't want to be that one who is the one that learns the hard way. I have a perfect example. A big friend of mine, Big Tony, call him Big Tone. He's a kneeboarder, big freaking Mexican guy, 6'6", like big, biggest Mexican I ever seen in my life. And he's a martial artist. He's just the gnarliest guy, but he's the biggest teddy bear. And when you're dating him, I got a story for you. But so I have these friends. Two couple went to Hawaii, and the guy goes, "Hey, you used to go to Hawaii all the time, right?" He goes, "Yeah, plenty of friends and family." So, what is the one thing we have to do every time we're there? Well, when you go to the beach, talk to the lifeguard. Whatever they tell you to do that. If you show up at a beach that doesn't have lifeguards, whatever the signs say to do that. Don't do the opposite. And so, Insta, social media, TikTok, all of this, right? So, actually, sorry, there's three couples traveling, and they're at Colonial, blowhole, Sandy Beach, right? They're like, "Hey, we gotta go get this picture for the gram." Like literally the words they say, "We gotta go get this picture for the gram." Go down. So basically go down by the blowhole. When the blowhole shoots up, like, "Yeah, bro, fucking cool. We're in Hawaii, we're at the blowhole," right? So what happens is he's like, "Nope, fuck that, I ain't going down there," right? They're doing the standard boys thing. "Ah, you fucking pussy, don't be a pussy, don't be this, don't be that." Nope. My friend said, "Don't do it." The sign says don't do it, so I'm not gonna do it. So the other two friends go down, and then the wave comes, so they're waiting for the waves. When the wave comes in, that's when the blowhole blows. And so they're standing over there taking it, and then he said all he heard was this blood-curdling scream. And it was the two wives stayed up there. So the wave came up, water shot over, came back down, and the wave came over and sucked them over, and they both died. That was that one summer where in a 3-month period, we had like 7 people die on that stretch from the Lanai Lookout to the blowhole. So, was that Rock Bridge or whatever they call it? Had 2 people die over there. Lanai Lookout, and then the blowhole.
Wait, the water came out the blowhole.
So it comes out the blowhole,
right?
And So the initial surge shoots it up.
Yeah.
But if it's a big wave, the water keeps coming out, right? And then
So
the water also falls back down. So the water can get up to chest high.
And they
If
get
it's a
washed
high
away.
tide and a big swing, and then it just gets sucked off the rocks and don't know what to do. So most of them are gonna panic and they're gonna try and climb up the rock.
yeah.
But there's a time and place for that. You cannot just go back up the rock, right? Yeah.
Pummeled,
And then you get sucked over, and the cliff sides and the sides of the blowhole. If you get sucked down, it's sharp. You're getting cut up on the way down.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe they have to have enforcement there to keep people off, because it's literally life or death situation. I mean, how many videos have you seen at China Walls?
China Walls.
Yeah.
China Walls lit right now with fucking dummies.
Yeah. You get about 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people over there all standing on the edge. The wave's coming, but they can't recognize it. They don't see what's going to happen, that the wave's going to come up, right? And they get sucked off down the side, trying to get back up, getting slammed into the rock. They die.
I think Kurt Rothman put on his Instagram 2 days ago, or yesterday was it? There was a big wave that came in a pipe and then washed the kid away.
Yep.
And the parent is running and grabbing the kid.
Yep.
Just like maybe a second too late, but baby gone.
Yep.
1 second too late, baby gone.
It
And they
only
saw it
takes a
happening.
split second. It
They-
doesn't
they
even
were
take- yeah, they're
filming it.
like geniuses.
They saw it coming.
So that's the problem. When people get into trouble now, people don't call for help. They take out their phone and they fucking film it. How fucking stupid is that?
They want to put it on
And
Hungry
then they're
Hungry
gonna put it on
Hawaiian.
their TikTok and they fucking Instagram and all of that stuff, watching somebody die.
Yeah.
Like literally, as a society, if we fall in that part where death is just nothing, where it's more important to get the likes and the comments and all of that shit. It's like you see it all the time.
See it all the
Like if
time.
we're not on the beaches, those people are gonna die. That's the reality. That's
And
what,
then you also created the Junior Lifeguard.
yeah, so this is a nonprofit I started, is the Hawaii Junior Lifeguard Alliance. And so basically what we're set up to do is run year-round junior lifeguard programs for the kids, when they have their breaks and stuff like that, which they're working on funding and getting grants, whatever resources we need to make that happen. But I wanted to do it a little different, because I've been doing junior guards basically the whole time I've been in lifeguarding the city. Do junior guards every year. Past 2 years, 3 years I didn't do it. Past summer, but I always thought, okay, that's awesome. We teach these kids. We teach them CPR, AED, O2 administration, minor bandaging skills, and then we teach them rescues and stuff like that. But I always thought that they learn all of this, then they go home with their ohana and their hale, and parents don't do anything. If anything did happen, parents cannot. Okay, so how do we figure that out? Then I thought, okay, the keiki and the ohana, at least the keiki and the ohana know, but if they go out into the communities, to a craft fair, concert, or go to the beach to a contest, or just to the beach for the hell of going to the beach, and if something happens, all they got is themselves. Again, it's better than just the keiki, right?
Yeah.
So you got the keiki and the ohana. Maybe they get a couple other keikis and get them on that. Now they all know how to do it. They all been taught the same. So it's the same thing. So all the training we do as City and County lifeguards, we all get the same training. So no matter what beach we work at, what side of the island we're on, every time something happens, it's all the same. Everybody knows what to do. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows what the steps, what the protocols, what the procedures are. So I said, okay, so how do we do something where we get everybody involved, right? So I came up with this program called COI, Community Outreach Initiative. So there's a few different, I guess you would say, phases to it. One is we get either our current or former junior guards to go, say, like on career day, or just any other day, and get into the DOE schools and have them teach CPR, AED, O2 administration, minor cut and bleeding, wrap, stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, so what more can we do than that? Because that's limited, right? 20 to 40 kids each class. I said, okay, so what if we go and we offer it, right? We get enough funding where we can get all the resources we need, the CPR, AED, baby, mannequins and stuff like that that we use for training, get enough of those where we go to a craft fair, or go to a surf contest, or we go to a skate contest, we go to a concert and offer it for free. So now Keiki know how to do it. The Ohana knows how to do it. Now the community also knows how to do it. So by teaching everybody the same way we do it, when we are doing something, they can actually come in and help because we taught them the way that we're being taught. So it's not like, a lot of times when we do rescues, we have, oh, I'm a nurse or I'm a doctor. Like, get away, we got this. Because we have a certain way that we do it. And they're higher trained and higher level, but we're literally on the bottom. We're the first responder at the beach. We're the first people there. So what we're doing and what we learn is different than what they learn or what they do. And there's still a process and a step, right? We're the first step, and we hand them off to EMS, right? Or if fire is there, then fire will hand them off to EMS. If EMS shows up, then they take them to the hospital and the doctor over. But it's not being disrespectful to the nurses or the doctors. It's just they're not trained the way we're trained. They're literally trained higher.
Yeah.
So like it's above their pay grade. Like what we're doing is like minimal compared to what they can do. And if they're not on the same program and they don't understand what we're doing, it can make it worse.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we'd say, hey, stand by. We'll have you communicate with EMS or fire when they show up. You can tell them who you are, what you observed, and stuff like that. From your professional opinion, blah blah blah, all of that kind of stuff. We want their help, but physically, what we're doing at the time is not their specialty.
Yeah.
It's literally our specialty. What we do, what we train for every year, and we recertify every year. We're the only first responders in the state that have a physical performance exam that we have to pass every year. No other department has it.
And if someone wants to come and help your foundation, how can they do that?
Well, when we get up and running, right now we're just getting everything sorted to make sure we're solid and that we don't get audited and get into any issues. But when we do have events, we'll post it. We have a HGLA Hawaii Instagram as well as my Instagram, and we'll be sending stuff out through all of that. Right now I don't want to do anything half-assed.
Yeah.
It's taken 2 years to get where we are now, for our paperwork, our front of office, back of office, all that stuff going well. I got great people in position. I got a good board. My friend Colonial is the one who came to me with it. Actually, 7 years ago, when his kids came through my program, he goes, "This fucking program is amazing. We need to do more of this. We need to get you your own nonprofit, blah, blah, blah." I was like, yeah, it's awesome. Just, let me know. And timing just wasn't right. 5 years later, which was 2 years ago, comes to me, okay, I'm fucking ready. Let's do it. How do we do this? Well, this is what I know, blah, blah, blah. And so, it's a grassroots thing. We started then, we're building up. We're getting it to the point where we can accept, or we can bid for contracts, then also get grants and donations and everything. We're set up as a 501c3 as it is, and as a Native Hawaiian organization. I also have Miley DeSoto, who's on my board now, and I had 2 original board members. Terry Walsh, she was an original founding member, but he had to move to Florida, and I also had Jody Tomita. She was from Canada, and she was super awesome too, but she's starting her own thing, so she stepped down. And we were fortunate to bring Miley in and, have people who are passionate about what we're trying to do, which, not with just any company, but especially like a nonprofit that's trying to do community work. Not only have to be passionate about it, but understand it and believe in it. Because I don't want anybody who's just there to just be there. I want people to understand literally what it is we're doing. So I have a good crew. I have, when we get on the beach, I have Kailani Bowers. She'll be the beach boss. Awesome with the kids. She's great at explaining everything. Tanner Williams. he's awesome as well. He was actually Fed Fire for a few years. He's actually AMR on a few days a week as well. So he's higher level trained than even us, right? So he has his license and all of that, Fed Fire. And then I got guys like Daryl Terukina, who's been in ocean safety for 30 plus years. Another girl, Tony Watanuki, she was actually one of my junior guards, who is now a lifeguard.
Wow.
And she was one of the junior guards that I had tagged as one of my junior leaders. And so what I do myself, you, and the program, the way we run it, is Tanner and Daryl and Tony and all these people we bring in, is we actually take the kids who are returnees and the kids who know the program, and we have them teach under our supervision. So they become leaders themselves, right? So as they move forward, they know how it is to be a follower and somebody who take direction and to listen, right? And then build their way up to gain the trust where they become leaders. They can teach their peers what they're teaching. And it's one of the ideas I have, that I want to bring the parents in, say like on a weekend after doing a junior guard program, and have the kids teach their parents, their ohana, what they learn.
Mm-hmm.
And
tremendous.
So, and and we bring the community in, and we have the kids teach it. Because the thing we always tell the kids is, when they're going out on a rescue, I always tell them the number one most important thing is that you point and look at that person in the eye and tell them, you call 911, I'm going out on a rescue. Because if you just go, hey, call 911, I'm going on a rescue, everybody's looking around. Who's she talking to? Who's he talking to? Me? I said, when adults look at you, what do they see? Like, oh, kid. I go, exactly. So are they going to trust you if you just half-ass everything and you willy-nilly, right? With the old school expression, right? If you just kind of sort of do it, because they don't know what's going on. They don't know what they need or what you need them to do. So you need to tell them specifically what you need them to do. By the time you point them, call 911. I'm going out on a rescue. I'm a junior guard, and then they can call if there's like no lifeguards around and stuff like that. And we've had kids every year. They do it. It happens every year. Jump in. They do the rescues. People caught in the rip, or they're stuck. They can't get in. Kids jump in and they do it, and they jump in with a confidence they didn't have before. That was one of the main things my friend Kikoa said. He goes, "Wow, when they started the program, they didn't want to go. Now every year they're asking, Dad, can we go junior guards? Dad, can we go junior guards?" And he said, the confidence you've given my kids is a confidence they never had before, because they're doing things that they didn't even think of doing. Because, a lot of the kids we have don't go to the beach, or they go to the beach, but they don't surf. They don't go out on a boogie board. Right? When I was younger, the only people that went to the beach, people was jumping in the water. Now, 90% plus of people go to the beach just there to hang out, party, have a good time, walk around half naked, right? Look at half naked women and guys, and it's a thing now. When I was growing up, wasn't like that. Only the people who actually were going in the water or going to the beach. So it's switched, right? Back then, 90% going in the water, 10% cruising, girlfriends, family, whatever, or the boys just hanging out. And so it's a huge shift now where people are just there, and so majority of them are not mocked to those. They have no idea what's going on. They have no idea what to do. That's why the program is so important. We have kids who only go to the beach when they have family parties and stuff like that. But now they know what to do.
Well, whenever you need, whenever you're ready and you need some help, we helped a lot to the North Shore Lifeguard Association. We worked close with Kyle Foyle, and we helped him to do his summer program. So whenever you're ready, you let us know. And we have something small for you. We have a little gift for you. It's actually an award. It's the Aloha Hour Hammer Award.
Yes.
Because you won hammer.
Can always use a hammer.
And we wanted to
that's how I know
thank
you
you.
and hammer, because you immediately thought, I can use this.
I can use
I'm not
this.
going to put them up. I'm not
know
going to
what?
make for sure. I could use this.
Because you always have more than one hammer.
Always.
But when you need it, You can never find
Find
it.
it.
It's like, oh, I get 3. Okay, leave one in my storage container. Okay, one in the front living room. One in the utility drawer. And then you use them. And then you just put them wherever you want to use them. Like, ah, shit, I don't know where my hammer
Always.
is. Then you go buy a new hammer. And then you like, find
Fuck,
all
I
the
get
hammers
one.
out.
I get 4.
Yeah. Okay, I just put No. Yeah, no, hon. I couldn't find the other one, so I bought one new one.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, thank you so much
Awesome.
for coming on. It was a great pleasure, and I know we can talk for 2 more hours, but now it's 8:10, so we've been 2 hours.
2 hours. The Aloha.
Flew
2 hours.
Yeah.
I could say that at the beginning too. I go, but I don't know if an hour is enough for me. I can talk.
Yes,
Well, it was great, and a lot of important information, and it's amazing to see your commitment to the Aina, to the people, to your community, to the beach, and for what's Pono, and it's impressive and inspiring. So keep on doing what you're doing, man.
Well, we try, right? In this day and age, it's always easier said than done. So that's why with the nonprofit, kind of make sure that we do the things that I'm saying, not just talk about it. And then again, big shout out to NSLA, Hydrofoils. City took it back 3 years ago now, but prior to that, the city council had cut the funding for it, and so the NSLA stepped up. Brian Phillips was the president back then, and did a lot of the grant writing. We got a grant from HTA that allowed us to run that program all the way up until the pandemic. Back. Again, big shout out to NSLA, all my brothers and sisters out in the NSLA. Like they all teach the way that so kids have great role models. Everybody, it's tiring. It's shorter than a day of lifeguarding. It's 6 hours, but by the end of the week, the first week you're tired. Imagine now we're doing 7 or 8 weeks. Wow. It's brutal.
Yeah,
but it's awesome. The way we're doing it in the city now, we're going to different beaches every week, and so we got to go out to Colonial this year. Parents were super stoked. We had like 80 kids. Parents are super stoked because it never happens. They go, there's never anything out here for us, so it's important for us to go there and do that. And then all of Moana, we had 200 kids this year, 210 day one.
That's crazy.
Fucking nuts. But it was awesome.
Yeah,
awesome to see the parents and the kids that excited about it. They want part of it. So we're honored, and it's our pleasure to be able to serve. And hopefully these kids moving forward can pay it forward.
Yes, sir.
So if you ever wanted to send your kid to be a lifeguard, now is the time.
So that thing, again, I spoke on this earlier. So accountability, responsibility, and respect are the 3 things that we push when we're teaching. Accountability for you and your actions, those around you, right? Then responsibility, again, first for yourself and how you react to what's going on. And then those around you, around surrounding area, right? Keep the Aina clean. And I always tell them, the end of every day, this beach needs to be cleaner than it was when we got here. So they invite us back every year, that we become something, an organization or a program that they want back. They're like, hey, can you guys do more? And usually that's what we get. And then the third one is respect. Again, respect first for yourself, for those around you, and then the Aina and those all the whole time. And so kids a lot of time don't understand it a couple days in or by the end of the week. Because you gotta, every week is a new team.
Yeah.
They all gotta work together as a team, and if they don't use those principles, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So remember those principles and apply it in your life, and adapt those important things into your day-to-day. And thank you, Kainoa.
Pleasure's all mine. As always.
What a great pleasure. Yeah,
Right.
and we're out.
Okay, bye.